Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this very interesting conversation. As we allow for people to join in, kindly introduce yourself briefly in the chat, tell us where you're joining us from, and give us one word that comes to your mind when you think about young children and families. I'm going to put that in the chat. We're going to give 2 minutes to have everyone else join us, and then we can get started. And I want to thank you one more time for joining us in this very interesting conversation today under the theme of nurturing children and strengthening livelihoods for refugee and host communities in Uganda, where we're going to learn from really incredible insights from the Kulea Watoto project. Looking forward to it. Please go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us your name, your organization, and one word when that comes to your mind when you think about supporting young families and their children. Thank you all for joining us from all the places that you're joining us. This is wonderful. Okay, great. As everyone continues to please introduce yourself and tell us your thoughts on supporting young children and their families, we can get kick-started with the program. Firstly, we're going to start with a brief video that will introduce to us the AfriChild Center for those who are not very familiar with it yet. Control, please go ahead and show us the video.
Welcome to the AfriChild Center, where we strive for an Africa where children's well-being is realized for sustainable development. The AfriChild Center exists to generate research that informs policy and practice for the well-being of children.
Established in 2013, the AfriChild Center exists to improve the lives of children across Africa. As an institution, our vision is to see an Africa where child well-being is realized for sustainable development. We recognize that across Africa, and specifically sub-Saharan Africa, children continue to face challenges across the domains of child health and survival, child protection, child development, and child participation. And as an institution, through research, our mission is to generate evidence that will improve practice and policy. We do this through rigorous research, capacity building, with an intention of building a cadre of researchers across Africa that will contribute to generating evidence to improve both practice and policy. But we are also intentional on our engagement at policy level, ensuring that research is undertaken with the intention of improving our legislative and policy frameworks. We are keen on partnerships. We believe that we cannot do this alone. We need to work closely and in collaboration with like-minded organizations, with partners, communities, and more especially with children involved in echoing and sharing the aspirations and the vision.
Join us in our mission to transform the lives of children across Africa. Together, we can make a lasting impact. To learn more about the AfriChild Center and how you can support our work, visit our website or follow us on social media.
Thank you so much. What an amazing video and what amazing work the AfriChild Center continues to do. Can we please react and give them their flowers? Can we give them hand claps, cards? Please, let's make this an interactive session and feel free to react to anything that you like, you don't like. Feel free to use the chat to give us your opinion. And yes, we'd love to have a great engagement going on here. So next, I am just going to talk a little bit about the agenda for today. So I'm going to introduce our amazing panelists in a bit. After I do that briefly, we're also going to have another video that is going to tell us more about the Kulea Watoto project, very exciting things. And then I will have some really great questions for our panels for them to present and to answer for us. After that, we're going to have a short segment where we will have a poll question, and then we'll open it up for everyone for Q&A. And finally, we're going to wrap up after that. Really exciting agenda. Can't wait for the rest of this webinar and how it will go. So I would like to take a moment and introduce our amazing panelists for today. So we have Jessica Justine, who is an education specialist. Oh, okay. No, it's okay. We can start with Alex. Okay, Jessica. All right, Alex. Okay, so Alex is a social worker and a researcher. He works with the AfriChild Center. I'm sure most of us are familiar with Alex. He has 3 years of program implementation and 7 years of child-focused research experience at different levels. He's a research coordinator at the Kulea Watoto project, whose aim is to improve access to quality early childhood care and development services for children aged 5 years and under in Kampala, Yambe, and Chikegwa, among the refugee and host communities, using the two-generation approach. We're going to be talking more about the two-generation approach during this webinar, so please stay tuned. It's really exciting to hear. And then we have Mateo. Mateo is an experienced early childhood development practitioner and a team leader at Labe, Literacy and Adult Basic Education, in Yumbe District, Northern Uganda, where he leads ECD interventions across Bidibidi refugee settlement and the hosting communities. He has extensive expertise in home-based ECD programming, formal ECD centers strengthening, and monitoring and evaluation of early childhood programs. You're welcome, Mateo. It's good to have you today. And then we have Jessica. Jessica is an education specialist with a wealth of experience and networks acquired for over 20 years in the education sector, leading large and complex education programs for development and humanitarian contexts. She participated in several policies, education reform processes, bilateral and multilateral funding mechanisms, among others. Currently, she works with IRC, that's the International Rescue Committee, as the project coordinator for the Kulea Watoto project implemented by a consortium of 5 organizations. Wow, Jessica, it's really nice to have you here, and I would love to get to know you more and more and learn a lot from you. Then we have Hussein. Hussein is a dynamic and result-oriented professional with over 2 decades of hands-on experience in education, social enterprise, health, and community development. He has a proven expertise in leading multi-sector projects, designing innovative solutions, and ensuring adherence to budgets, timelines, and compliance standards. He's currently the program manager at Madrasa Early Childhood Program in Uganda, which is an initiative of Aga Khan Foundation. And last but not least, we have Linda. Linda is a project manager for the livelihood component of Kulea Watoto in KRC Uganda. She has 9 years of experience implementing various programs in livelihood, food security, health, and nutrition. She also has a master's degree in public health. As you can see, our panel is full of experts, and this is going to be a very rich conversation. And just before we dive into that, we're going to have another short video where we're going to learn more about the Kulea Watoto project. Control, please go ahead.
My name is Mr. Hassan Chiveru. This school started for a longer time. There came a project, Kulea Watoto. They came and identified us within this ghetto, as you have seen it, where we have passed. It has helped the community, and it has helped the people who are the initiators of the school. Through training, people are being trained, center management committees are being trained, as we, the center management committee. We come here at the school, we do activities like developing materials for young children, joking with young children, talking with the teachers around, asking them what challenges are they facing, and how can we overcome those challenges. We also try to visit the parents in their home to see how are they nurturing their children. And we told them in Kulea Watoto, they are not paying school fees. But there are some things which can help the children. At first, we are not sitting on these good chairs and tables you are sitting on. It is through this project, Kulea Watoto, which has brought this. And bringing this, it has brought the increasement of the children. We had no carpets, but Kulea Watoto, this project, gave us the carpet. Even the teachers go through training, serious training. If they happen to see that one of the children did not come to school, this one go and visit with the center management people to see the reason why. We shouldn't have done that, but through the good project, the good things the project has brought to us, that's try to enforce us and go and see. At first, we had very little children, but through this project, the school have increased, and even the entire community have tried to come now to admire the school.
Wow. Can we please have another round of reactions for this video and how impactful and heartfelt the work of Kulea Watoto has done? Thank you. Thank you all. That's really nice. So without further ado, we're gonna have our panelists speak to us more about the project now. And I want to start with Jessica. Jessica, how are you today?
Okay, I'm great, Aliyah. How are you?
And I'm good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this honor and opportunity to be able to share about our program with a wider audience, but also with all our friends who have joined us from the different parts of the world. We truly appreciate you taking off some time to join us. So without really spending much time, Aliyah has already wonderfully introduced me. So I work as the project coordinator for the Kulea Watoto project with the International Rescue Committee. So the Kulea Watoto project is indeed a wonderful project. It is a unique flagship project that is implemented by 5 partners, 5 different organizations. We call them consortium partners. And this project started 3 years ago. In 2022, we've walked the 3-year journey, and we ended it in September this year, but we were blessed to be given an extension. So the Kulea Watoto, a brief background for the benefit of partners who are joining us for the first time, is, as I've said, implemented by 5 partners. And these partners include the IRC, the International Rescue Committee, the Madrasa, that is the Aga Khan Foundation supported program, Kabarole Research Center, LABE, the Literacy and Basic Education, and then AfriChild, who is leading on our research and learning partner. So we are in 3 locations. We are in Kampala with our urban programming. We are in Chegegwa, in Chakatu refugee settlement, and the hosting communities surrounding it, as well as Yumbe, specifically in Bidibidi. We got funding from the Conrad Hilton Foundation for the 3 years. And then our target, definitely our clients, we call them clients because they work with us together. We share with them, they share with us. So we work with refugees and host communities, of course, targeting children who are 0 to 5 years old. Yeah. The aim of our project, I said, it's a unique 2-generational program. Why do we call it 2-generational? Because we are targeting the children as well as their caregivers. So those are two different generations of people whom we are targeting. We've been working to achieve 4 specific objectives that are being flashed up there. I don't want to go really specifically into each, but mainly we want to see households empowered with responsive caregiving and early learning skills. And then, of course, we want to see economic well-being and household income generation opportunities improved. We want to see quality ECD services provided to the children that we are targeting, and definitely we want to work with others. We want to amplify the voice, and we also want to share whatever we are doing through advocacy and policy influencing to ensure that we create an enabling environment to enable us reach the clients that we have committed. So as I've said, we are in 3 locations. That's the breakdown of the numbers that we aimed to achieve. And I can proudly report that we have been able to surpass actually our targets by achieving the 6,425 households and 11,111 caregivers. So we are proud to report that so far we are sailing very well. So under the consortium, for the benefit of participants who are asking, so who does what? So in this consortium, IRC is leading in terms of partner management, oversight for implementation, meal coordination, capacity building, and all the other activities. While our local partners, I don't want to call them local, but our national level organizations lead on the specific components, because we believe they are the ones in touch with the communities, they are in touch with the realities on the ground. For example, LABE has expertise in home learning, and that's what they are specializing in Yumbe, in addition to a little bit of the formal support to the ECD programming there. And then definitely AfriChild, that has convened us here today as part of the learning and research agenda. So they've been the ones teaching us and really directing us on what to do based on the evidence they've seen on the ground. And then Madrasa Early Learning Program, that is leading on ECD in Kampala in our urban program. And then definitely the Kabarore Research and Resource Center, that is leading on the economic recovery and development activities. I also want to say that IRC as well is also doing bits and components of ECD and ERD in addition to the program, the consortium management component to it. So quickly, I wanted to share, people will be asking, so how have you been able to work as a consortium? Ideally, definitely in a marriage of more than 5 people involved, it is not an easy one. But we have walked the journey of 3 years really successfully because of 4 main ingredients. I want to call them ingredients in our recipe in this marriage that we've worked, the 5 organizations. And one of them that we saw as a powerful weapon was mutual planning. We've ensured that in everything we do, all of us are involved and all our views are respectively considered and then integrated or incorporated in whatever we do. We have built trust, of course, with the leadership, with each other, ensuring that every partner feels safe, they feel comfortable, we communicate openly, we are honest, we give honest feedback and take appropriate risks. So that has been one of those building blocks. Then the other one has been facilitation. Not just facilitation in terms of managing the meetings, convening meetings, but it goes beyond that. It also goes beyond to include how do we coordinate and support the processes for each partner. How do we do team building, project management, but most of all, I think the key one has been dispute and conflict resolution. I said, a marriage of 5 partners is a complex one, and definitely disputes and conflicts will not fail to arise. but we have been able to find ways to amicably manage these conflicts and disputes. And I think that's what has made us been able to successfully walk this journey over the 3 years. And then definitely the adaptive management. You know, working in the different locations, there have been different issues arising at different phases of the project implementation. So how have we managed to handle this? It's been through ongoing processes of, you know, analyzing project data, managing feedback, adjusting project plans. You know, we don't work on a fixed slate or on things that are not, cannot be changed. So we've been able to factor in flexibility in everything we do. And we want to proudly say, I think that has been one of the most powerful tools. So working with those building blocks, we've been able to really see successes. What has that enabled us to do? Can you please, yeah. So what has worked? Through the joint project design and planning with all partners, we've worked on from one understanding of the project documents, specifically log frames, the indicators that we aim to achieve, you know, client selection criteria, working in the different locations and targeting different, you know, categories of people, but we've been able to harmonize and make sure that we do have a harmonized client selection criteria. Through joint project monitoring and review meetings, of course, both with our consortium partners, but also with other stakeholders, we've been able to see tremendous progress. Utilization of feedback data management systems across the consortium has also included being able to collect feedback, timely feedback, sharing data on a dashboard where each of us or the partners can access at any time, and also input at any time, has really promoted shared learning of client needs, expectations, that has helped us to align, you know, project implementation to client needs. And then definitely continuous capacity building to the project teams that has enabled us to enhance knowledge sharing and also learning. So the other one, of course, is the consortium management of its meal systems that has fostered quality. You know, we prioritize learning over just collecting data. So under the Kulea Watoto project, we have a central system that collects all the partners' input data in there. It's a facilitated adaptive management and also decision making. So which has allowed us to quickly and timely identify challenges, make necessary corrections, but also, of course, informed by evidence and
Hey,
shared learning.
Jessica, hi, Jessica, thank you.
Yeah, so that's a little background I wanted to share. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Jessica. That was really great. I'm not seeing any reactions. Can people please give us some reactions? Yes, that's great. Thank you so much, Jessica. And I think what stood out the most for me is the consortium management, as we always speak about how collaboration is very important when it comes to the success of a project. Now I want to move over to Matea. Matea, can you please tell us, based on your experience, tell us about the contribution of home-based ECD to the implementation of Kulea Watoto. And ECD is Early Childhood Development, for those who are just joined the call. Thank you. Matea, over to you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for the technical glitch, but here we are. Thank you for joining this session, and I'm happy to really be part of this. My name is Matea Kahwa Aboki. I work with literacy and adult basic education as a team leader for Yumbe district, where we have implemented this program that Jessica extensively talked about for 3 years. So I'll be taking you through the home-based ECD, which is really a holistic approach for strengthening the early childhood development in the Kulea Watoto project that we have implemented. So I'll take you briefly through the overview of our home-based ECD approach in the project. I'll take you through also the strands of the home-based ECD model. Then I'll tell you about the Home Learning Center, which has really been the heart of this approach. And briefly, I'll tell you about our sustainability measures that we have had for this project. And quickly, I'll run through the challenges. that we have encountered implementing the program. So a home-based ECD model really is an ECD model delivered within homes and communities. It combines learning, play, parenting, education, and adult literacy, but also it uses home learning centers as the core of the model. And this is led by the parent educators and other community volunteers, but also the center management committees. It is designed for low-cost community-driven settings, like Jessica has really mentioned. Now, for the case of Yumbe, it is being implemented in the refugee hosting community of Yumbe, but also inside the settlement itself. The home-based ECD model has also used a three-stranded structure, which has the parent-led, the parent educator-led, which most of you understand as the caregiver-led, and then we have also had the other one, which is the child-to-child, which is widely known also as the peer-led strand. But why have we implemented the home-based ECD model, especially in the Kulea Watoto project in Yumbe specifically? Maybe to give you context, if you have been to Yumbe, you will appreciate the fact that they are very formal. There are very few formal ECD centers in the settlement, but also in the host communities. You will also appreciate that even those that are available, the distances between them and where children walk to access these centers is really long. So it poses a challenge, but also the ones that are available are expensive. So it poses affordability challenges because most of the people around there, I don't want to use poverty, but yes, there is some high level of poverty within the communities where we are implementing. But we also acknowledge the fact that home environment are the first learning spaces for the children, if you all can agree with me on the side of ECD. So Kulea Watoto comes in to strike that balance and also serve that challenge. I'll take you quickly through the strands that I mentioned earlier. Strand 1, which is the parent-led ECD. So this one, in the Kulea Watoto design, this strand has been targeting the age group of 0 to 3 years. And the focus is really on child care. It has been heavily relying on the nurturing care framework, which you all, I believe, understand. And Kulea Watoto adopted this in its totality with its guide, which we all know as the Care for Child Development Manual, which guides on how to implement this program, the nurturing care framework. So in this strand, parents have been learning on responsive caregiving skills, and then supporting nutrition, hygiene, and early learning opportunities. But also we have been encouraging parents to share books, to read books if possible, tell stories at home with their children. Again, in the local languages that the parents themselves understand and their children. So strand number 2, I will tell you about the parent educator-led, which is the caregiver-led strand, where we have been having the caregivers, whom we are calling parent educators, leading the structured ECD sessions in home learning centers. So this strand has been basically targeting the children who are 3 years to 5, and basically the learning has been happening at home learning centers, which have been happening in selected homes within the communities. The focus of this strand really has been mainly preparing the learners who are 3 to 5 years, preparing them to transition to primary schools. Basically, we are giving them that foundational learning and preparation so that they can go to primary schools when ready. So parent educators are trained on how to deliver these sessions, and sessions have been running really for 3 days in a week, for a maximum of about 3 hours. And in these home learning centers, we have been promoting the use of local language as supported by the ECD policy, and also using local play materials in the home learning centers. I'll tell you about the third very briefly, which is the child-to-child or peer-led approach. Now, this is very interesting. This is a very interesting approach where we have children who are in their final year of early learning, 5 to 6, who are getting ready to transition to primary schools. But then we bring on board older siblings who are in upper primary, P5, P6, P7, coming to prepare their younger siblings at home and in communities, preparing them to go to primary school or P1. So young facilitators here, we've been training them on how to use games, songs, picture stories, so that they engage their younger learners, preparing them on the school environment at the primary schools. That picture on inset can show you how this approach works. And we have had feedback, and there is evidence, especially from the primary schools where the young facilitators go, that the young facilitators we've been engaging have actually improved their performance because of the work that we have been engaging them. And I want to quickly tell you about how a home learning center works, what it is, because it is the heart of the model that the Kulea Watoto has been using. So a home learning center is basically a simple community space which is hosted in a home or compound of a volunteer individual. Someone volunteers to give us land, and learning starts from there. What happens is sometimes the community members pool resources and construct temporary structures or semi-permanent learning structures to support the learning of their children. The center is equipped with local materials, again made by the parents themselves, with LABE coming in with the technical oversight. And what happens again is children attend short sessions, which I told you about, again facilitated by the parent educators in class, managed by the center management committees, which are again elected by the communities. One thing that is interesting about Kulea Watoto home learning centers that we introduced is the center is not just for the learning of children, but also the parents within the community come to the same center to learn parenting sessions, also for their VSLA sittings, but also community meetings. Some people use our centers to have their meetings when the children are not there, basically strengthening that community cohesion. And again, LABE has been playing more of a technical role, community mobilization, coordination, and general oversight. But also at some point, we provide a small cash support, especially on issues to do with roofing and maybe a few scholastic materials. I'll quickly run, maybe to give you a picture. As LABE, we have a bigger model which incorporates the education component, but also the economic pillar to support the learning, and then the social capital pillar. So the home-based ECD model sits so well in the education pillar. Then, because we understand home learning centers have to survive even after the project has ended, then we have the economic pillar where our parents engage in small activities to sustain these ECD centers or the home learning centers. Now, we bring in the aspect of social cohesion, doing activities that promote social cohesion within communities so that they can continue working together to support the learning of their children. The picture is quite detailed. We'll share this content so that you get to understand it. But this is a broader picture of how we sustain the centers. Maybe to again give you some bit of content on how we sustain the home learning centers, especially for Kulea Watoto project. We gave out a cash grant to all the home learning centers that we have in Yumbe. This cash grant was intended to start micro enterprises which can generate income for the center, with hope, and I'm happy that some are already progressing, with hope that when these micro enterprises grow and generate some income, the income can be reinvested to support the learning of their children, even when the project has ended. So the Kulea Watoto did this, and I'm glad it is really happening well. But also, from the start, we have had community engagement. We have involved the community quite well. They contribute food, labor,
Sorry to
home
interrupt you,
spaces.
Mateo. Are you almost? Because we're just kind of really tight on time.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the second last. So we have been engaging parents right from the start, and we believe this will continue even after the project has ended. Maybe to quickly rush to the last slide, the challenges. I'm sorry I've been rushing very fast because of the time, but one of the challenges really we have encountered is about policy. Scaling a model requires stronger policy support, and this has not really been as we want it. Yes, the policy is there, but it is not as strong as we would want it to scale the model. But of course, we have funding challenges. The funding has never been enough, and we equally face the same to scale the model. And we have transition challenges. Our children graduate from home learning centers, but then because of the distance of primary schools from the centers, our children struggle to transition to primary schools. But we are in touch with the district now. I'm glad there is positive commitment to put up some primary schools near the home learning centers so that the children can transition. Yeah, I talked a lot, but thank you so much for listening to me. For more information, you can visit our website. I've also put it there on the screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matea. Can we give him his flowers, please? Perfect. Perfect. That's really great. And all of you who are just hearing about Labe for the first time, I highly encourage you to go and visit their website and get to know more about the amazing work that they have been doing. So, Hussein, I'm going to quickly jump to you. And I want you, from your experience and Madrasa's history of ECD capacity strengthening, to share with us what the contribution you guys have made to Kulea Watoto.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aria. And when you were introducing me, I was like wondering whether it is me. But thank you for the warm introduction. And I'm happy to share with the team online today about what we have really done in this project. I'm Hussein, and I'm the project lead for the Kulea Watoto project, but not only Kulea Watoto project, but other projects. I think if I were working with a different organization, I would be the head of programs at Madrasa, an initiative of the Aga Khan Foundation. So just to quickly tell you about Madrasa, Madrasa is a regional kind of organization. Every time you talk about Madrasa, what comes to the mind of people is that they talk about Muslim schools, but this is just a school of children. Our focus is around 0 to 8 years. We are a regional program that was started in 1986 in Mombasa, and it had to go to Zanzibar and in Uganda in 1996. So we've been here since 1996, and our office is based in Mengo. So this institution promotes quality, community-based, and culturally relevant and pluralistic kind of ECD with the underprivileged communities. So we work with communities that are a bit underserved, and our approach is a bit it is in pro, like in we don't really segregate around maybe religion and what have you. So Jessica did a very wonderful job talking about the overall objective, so I'm not going really to repeat that. Shall we proceed? But just to paint a clear picture is around improving access to quality early childhood development for children aged 5 and below. So it was all around transforming livelihoods opportunities for refugees and host communities in Uganda. So that was the major agenda. And our target as Madrasa has been around working with 1,046 households and targeting both the female and male in that house, meaning that our target was around 2,092 individuals. And by nationalities, we were targeting 65% of them refugees and 35% host, including another group that was that had received the livelihood component from Rebuild. This is a project by IRC. So we were trying to really have around 100 clients from there. So by gender, we were also looking at 60 and 40 men, and we were in 3 divisions of Kampala, and this was Kampala Central, Makindye, and Lubaga. So we were much in Makindye, and a bit smaller in Lubaga, and very small in Kampala Central, and this was based to the poverty map for Kampala. Yes, shall we proceed? So we contributed to 3 specific objectives of the project, and one of them was around empower households with responsive caregiving and learning skills in homes and at group level. Then we also contributed the improved availability of quality ECD services in homes and at the centers. Then we also contributed to policy and advocacy. In our objective number 1, where we talked about empower households with responsive caregiving and learning skills. This is, we were targeting 0 to 3. And the model was around, we used a cascade model, and we had to adopt the CCD package, which is called Care for Child Development. This was developed by UNICEF. But again, we had to first of all go into contextualizing the model, that manual into Uganda context, and therefore we used the master trainers who also trained the VHTs, and the VHTs had to roll out these trainings to household levels. And during those visits, they could do responsive caregiving, and in responsive caregiving, they were mainly tackling child protection issues, growth monitoring and promotion, nutrition, immunization, stimulation, play, access to ECCD services, and ECD improvement plans. So that was around responsive caregiving. Then in early learning skills and play materials, we are talking about nurturing through games, play materials, and skills in making play materials. So these are the sessions that were delivered by VHTs at household level and using local available kind of, can I say, materials. And still under 0 to 3, we also had community parenting sessions where we used healthy workers at healthy centers, and we also had child-friendly spaces. These are play centers, like thinking that those children who are not reached through ECC centers, they would be reached through the child-friendly spaces. And the trainers were also going through the trainers of trainees, but they're also trying to roll out this training through cluster groups. And even at the ECD center, where at these child-friendly spaces, we could also have parent volunteers trying to really engage parents at these community play spaces. We also had to reach the 3 to 5 were reached at the ECD centers. And here we had to deliver the CPDs. CPDs these are professional, continuous professional development packages that are given to teachers who are teaching there. But we also had the CCC package, which was given to those individuals you find at ECD centers, but without formal training. So it is like an abridged course. Then we also had a package that we gave to the CMCs on how to run the centers. But we also gave in some kind of, for sustainability purposes, we had also to have the TLL or the training of leaders. This is like a mentorship project kind of package, which we give to highly performing teachers who can really give ongoing support to other struggling teachers. So this was around making sure that there is ongoing support. Then we also had to give out some of the facilities to improve the facilities at the ECDs. Just like Mr. Chiveru was talking about, we found maybe in some other ECDs were in very bad shape. So we had to take them through a human-centered design kind of approach where they looked at their needs and they were able to prioritize. And now we supply these materials to them for them to be able to improve their ECD spaces.
Ben, thank you so much.
So this was the overall reach, and I wouldn't really want to go through it, but when you look at that, it's what the project really reached out, and it is very cumulative, and the figures can really speak for themselves. And I know Alex will come with them in details. So under the advocacy component, we had a course that's called Policymakers, where we had to call the decision makers, take them through the importance of ECD and what it means to the country. And from those trainings, you can see several pledges that came through. And as I talk now, one of the key achievements for this project is seeing operationalizing of the ECCE policy that is underway to being commissioned soon.
Ben, sorry to interrupt you, but can you wrap up in the next 10 seconds?
Yes.
Thank you.
There's a science of ECD. That one is also part of the other one that I've talked about. Should we proceed? Please, can we proceed? Last slide. Okay, all in all, this kind of project, we've really learned a lot, but as madrasa, we thought working with existing structures means a lot for sustainability purposes, and that it doesn't make a lot of sense if you created parallel structures. And working through VHTs, but also through the existing structures like that vision leaders made a lot of progress to us. And also needful to mention that programming around urban setting, it has challenges of nomadic kind of refugees who are always on the move, looking for places, maybe because of the economy, they may hear of landlords raising rent and what have you. So they keep on changing and switching locations. So it was a bit challenging to really do the tracking and what have you. Otherwise, we really believe that if you do programming around that targets both parents and children systematically, it has a ripple effect, and it deepens the impact as compared to having projects that only target as a single generation. I thank you very much.
Thank you. And we all agree with you, and Alex will be telling us more about that during his session. So before I go to Alex, Linda, over to you, please. Can you let us know what should other people who are implementing this two-generation approach learn from integrating livelihood in ECD programming based on your experience from Kulea Watoto? And as Hussein mentioned already, two-generation approach is when those projects that focus on both children and their parents, other than projects just focusing on one of these groups. Thank you, and Linda, please, over to you.
Thank you, Alia. Good afternoon, everyone. It's not yet evening. My audible now? Ali, am I audible enough?
Yes, you are now. It was a bit shaky, and I wasn't sure it was just me, but I can hear you very well now.
Hello?
Linda, your network seems to be a bit weak.
Am I audible enough?
But we can hear you.
Hello? Alia. To everyone, my name is Linda. Hello, you can hear me? Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you very much. I was saying that I work with KRC Uganda, and KRC has been in Uganda for 30 years and has been implementing various programs in nutrition, health, protection, most importantly, livelihood and agribusiness, and also environment. But to go straight into the two-gen model, and one of the two that we have used as KRC and the entire project actually in all locations and the various partners, especially IRC and KRC, has been the visioning, the family visioning. And if I may ask all of us here, do we have visions for our families? Personally, I didn't have one, but when I joined the project, I embraced the concept because of the various outcomes it had and the impact it had on the community. So in Kulea Watoto, how do we see visioning? Family visioning is more of like a structured process that guides the household members, particularly the caregivers in developing their a shared vision for their family and the well-being of their children and household. By this, I mean this approach was adapted from the Gender Action and Learning Systems by Linda Moho, and it's one of the most working approach that has helped integrate the child and the caregiver, also ECD and ERD. And if you can see clearly on that picture, I don't know if it can be made larger. That is an image of a vision map. This one in particular was for a farmer group, but also households do their vision map in this way. They have visuals of exactly where they want to be in 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, and up they are able to indicate the challenges they anticipate, the risk they anticipate in maybe implementing these. First, go back implementing the action plans, and also down they put the opportunities they have to implement this vision for the family. And what is the purpose of this of the family visioning approach? First of all, is to create long-term visions for children well-being and the overall development of a household. And the ICD component, and it focuses on both the ECD and the ERD component, where we have families having 5 actions on ECD and 5 actions in ERD. And these actions for ECD, they rotate around having being able to pay school fees for their children, being able to buy scholastic materials, saving for antenatal care, among others. In ERD, it's all obviously about production, increase in, and also as you see in that image, one of our beneficiaries explaining their vision map in his home. He had a vision of having a permanent structure from this to this, and also starting to rear poultry in this former house they were having. He also had a vision of starting up a tailoring business for the wife, which he started, and also the buying scholastic materials, which he bought, among other things. So what do we, when we go to the next slide, what is the outcomes? What outcomes do we see in the family visioning? We see improved childhood income, education, health, emotional well-being, because these families are able to have goals on health for the entire ECD component. You know, the nurturing care framework for a child includes health, includes education, and all that. We've seen encouraged accountability among households because they're all involved. Collective ownership of the household resources and production. All of the household owns what they decided or they vision to have. Stronger family bonds, we saw them happen. Active participation. And how did we monitor this? We went ahead every month through the community structures, the community-based facilitators, VHTs, care group volunteers, and the officers go on a monthly basis in all these households to monitor how many of the 10 actions have they implemented. We had a goal of at least a household implementing 70% of their vision, all the action plans they got from their vision. And the results will show most of the household implemented above 70% for the 3-year visions they had. And we saw a lot of change when it came to the child, when it came to the caregivers, and when it came to ECD. This same approach has been adapted at the ECD centers, not only at the household level or the family level. It has been adopted in farmer groups. It has been adopted in different implementation strategies within KRC in particular. And that is one of the things that has ensured sustainable impact, sustainable change at the household level, but also at the family level. Thank you so much. I think that has really explained the integration of the 2-gen model and ECD and RC and ERD. Thank you so much, Aliyah. I hope I didn't miss out.
Thank you, Lydia.
because of my audio.
Linda, yeah, you did amazing. Thank you so much for keeping time. We really appreciate it. And that was such a lovely, real example of the 2-gen model. Can we please give Linda and Hassan their flowers? Amazing, amazing. Thank you all for your reactions. So now the moment we've all been waiting for, the research part of things. Alex, please, I'm going to hand it over to you to walk us through the research that was done during Kulea Watoto. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aliyah. And just please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Alex.
Okay,
you.
Thank you very much. Just speaking from what my colleagues have mentioned, so we focused on research for this project and to learn about it and to learn throughout the journey. But even before looking at implementation, we wanted to find out why 2-gen. Is it something to even focus on 2-generation programming? And then we did an evidence review and synthesis where we found different studies telling us that, yeah, implementing following a 2-generation intervention focus is paramount because children outcomes are intertwined with their home environment and also the quality
Is it just me who lost Alex?
Is it okay now?
Yes, you're back.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that we even did an evidence review to just find out why 2-generation intervention and implementation is paramount. And we found out that even children's outcomes are really intertwined with their home environment. So you can't just intervene with children alone or with caregivers alone, because then once one group is left behind, then the outcomes might not even improve the household well-being. But also intensive interventions in one or more than one area of a child's life is essential, and then serving parents and their children with coordinated services may help to strengthen the services and also reinforce impacts on both generations. So for Kulea Watoto specifically, we wanted to find out, so if these interventions are given to the community, shall we have impact on both caregivers on one hand and then children on the other hand? And we did this following different measures, but also tools. We measured early learning and responsive caregiving itself, then household economic well-being, since the project had a project on livelihoods. Then for the children, child health and development as a pillar and as something that we measured, and then also psychosocial health and well-being of a primary caregiver as a way of finding out the causal effects between that and the different outcomes. So just running through the findings.
on the economic gains, we have seen that the project has improved financial access to communities with cumulative savings of 35 million, which the amounts loans and then the amount of loans also totaling to 24,500,000. But also when the caregivers joined the savings group, they created what they called a social fund. And they have also managed to collect over 3 million in that social fund. So that is from the different groups. But also looking at the household income, we have seen that intervention households or households where the project was intervening had a 31% higher likelihood of moving up at least one wealth quantile compared to where the project was not implemented. The economists will say a quantile is if you are grading, for example, 1 million households, then you grade them from the poorest to the richest. So moving from, for example, the poorest to the poorer, or from the poor to the rich, we realized that the households in the intervention group had 31 chances to do that. But also over 90% of the beneficiaries belong to a saving group from the different studies that we conducted. Now, for caregivers specifically and under responsive caregiving, the intervention significantly improved parenting behavior and parent-child relationship. We used a parent of young children score, and we see that it increased from 74 to 80 mean in the intervention group. But also the overall parent-child relationship improved significantly where the project was intervening. Parents increasingly recognize children's needs, and also there's a stronger emotional bond through play and communication. Still, we have seen a significant increase and a significant increase in the psychosocial well-being of parents and caregivers, where we've seen the mean parent stress scale scores decreasing from 44% to 41%. So it means before the project, when these caregivers were assessed, they were 44% stressed, but now towards the end of the project, they had reduced at least to 41%. The caregivers classified as not stressed also increased from 69 to 86%. And then we have also seen prevalence of low self-esteem. So caregivers, because of the parenting sessions and different other interventions, the caregivers who were stressed or had self-esteem in the beginning reduced from 15% to 6.1%. And then, of course, the caregivers with normal self-esteem following the same scale also increased significantly in the intervention category. So for children specifically, the proportion of children developmentally on track increased from 29 to 44%. And also households with 2, 4, or 6 types of reading materials continue to show progressively higher IDERA scores, which are the tools that we used to measure child outcomes. So these are percentage of children who are developmentally on track, comparing the intervention and control group, 29% at baseline, which increased to 44%, but also in the control group, maybe because of other interventions that we didn't have control over, they also increased a bit. But we see in the intervention group, the numbers also raising. And these are the IDERA scores that I have also talked about. We see all the different strands of IDERA increasing, but looking at the number of reading materials at home, those who had 0 to 1, they were at 44. Those who had 6 reading materials, they were at 79. So meaning having reading materials has a high bearing on the development outcomes of a child in a given household. We have seen also increase in motor development, early literacy, early numeracy, social emotional development, and other areas. Food security, stunting also reduced from 7.1 to 5 to 6%. And then we have caregivers reporting learning to diversify meals with proteins, vitamins, and other supplements as they learned from the project. So conclusions. So this project demonstrates that when you combine different components, two-generation interventions can strengthen child development, can improve caregiver well-being, and household resilience. But to achieve this lasting and equitable impact, future programs need to extend duration, deepen inclusion, embed resilience measures, and integrate psychosocial support to sustain benefits. And this is because of what is happening. Even food cuts, even cash has reduced, even partners are pulling out. And now UNHCR no longer prioritizes ECD, so a lot still needs to be done. Some of the lessons: adaptive design and flexibility is necessary, inclusive programming approaches, integration of tangible and intangible support, family engagement and visioning as a critical factor, which was highlighted by Linda. And then those are some of the implications: partnership, inclusion, program duration. And then for recommendations, as I summarize, for practitioners, we need to adopt adaptive and flexible programming, integrating psychosocial support, promoting inclusive implementation, intentional integration, and simultaneity. So integration, just if you are offering different services, just make sure that the services for caregivers and the services for children are integrated and offered in a simultaneous manner, not first intervening with one generation and then with the other. For policy, we need to really integrate 2Gen in government programming. This is a journey that we can embark on together. And then, of course, mainstreaming inclusion in the ECCE policy, continue institutionalizing, and then strengthening climate and social protection policies.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much. These are really incredible findings. Appreciate you. Can we also give Alex his flowers? Can we please react? As we applaud him, give him hearts. I want to see some reactions. Hello? Great. Great. Thank you so much, Alex. Sorry, everyone, I went off there for a moment there. So now that we heard everything that was done, we're going to lastly hear from Jessica on what the future looks like. Please, Jessica, let us know what the future holds. And given all the conversations that we just had, would love to hear from you. And as I hand over to Jessica, we are putting up a poll, and we would love for everyone to vote on what areas do you think should be prioritized for future investments. Please give us your answers. The poll should be showing up right in front of your screen. And Jessica, please, over to you. Go ahead. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Aliyah, and all the other panel members for those very insightful presentations, and our listeners for hanging in there and listening to all those wonderful presentations. So we said our journey, the first 3-year journey, came to an end in September. But fortunately, our donor did grant us an extension. We have a bridging phase of 6 months that started in October. It will be running up to March next year. And we are also in negotiations with the donor for a potential next phase. We call it Kulea Watoto 2.0. We are keeping our fingers crossed that if that conversation goes well, we should be able to continue because as Alex has shared all those findings and some of the good things that we've been able to see. We would really want to test more some of those things that we have, the promises that we are, things that we see promising coming up, but also we want to reach more children, more households, and more stakeholders and share the good things that we've been able to achieve in the current first phase. So we are in the bridging phase up to March, then we see what follows on up to March, but most likely we should be able to continue with another phase of Kulea Watoto. Alia, I think that's what I could share. Thank you so much.
That's lovely, and that's very promising. And we wish you all the best, all the Kulea Watoto partners. Thank you so much, Jessica. I would like to open up the floor for around 7 to 10 minutes for the audience, yourselves, for your questions and answers, questions and comments. Please feel free to unmute and give us your question or type it in the chat. We're here for you. Oh, and just a quick response on the poll we just had. Most of you answered that we need to invest in scaling two-generation approaches, which is really very great to hear, and love the fact that everybody is understanding the importance of two-generation approaches and how successful it can be. Great, so we will be here waiting for your questions. I'm seeing a few questions in the Q&A box, and panelists, please feel free to choose whoever amongst yourself can answer. The first question was answered. It was, how have you integrated child protection and safeguarding in the learning centers? I think that question was for Mateo, and Mateo, you're presenting. Would you like to take that on?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I can take that one. I think I've seen two major questions that require my attention. Hope,
yes, and they
my
also
video is
mentioned
again
special
seen.
need cases. How are they addressed and integrated in regards to the project interventions?
All right. So thank you. I will start with the last one. How do we incorporate, or how do we support the children with special needs? Unfortunately, by design, when we were designing the project, we didn't really cater for that. But of course, in terms of providing knowledge, we have, of course, trained our educators. Number one, to identify children with special needs. For example, if a child is unable to hear or they have developmental issues, they are not progressing well, then our educators are able to identify that. But then don't stop at identifying. We have referral pathways where we can refer such cases. If, for example, we are talking about a child with a disability of walking and they are unable to leave home, and then we have humanitarian inclusion in the house or some as a partner within the ECD space, we refer such a case to humanitarian inclusion to support such a child. But also, we are happy that Kulea Watoto sat in a bigger ecosystem of Labe, where in our other programs, we have what we call disability assessments, and children who have big disability issues are supported with assistive devices to access learning or the ECD centers. And this is something I was also telling the team of Kulea Watoto that maybe it could be worth really putting into consideration in phase 2. And I'm glad that has not really been denied so much, but we hope we can incorporate that. Then on the other, kind of remind me the other question, please.
Sure.
Sorry, I lost the chat again.
No worries. It was, how have you integrated child protection and safeguarding in the learning centers?
Oh, all right. So number one, we have a whole structure where these children learn from and how they are managed. One, we have a center management committee, we have the parent educators, then we have the parents and the broader community. So one, we train the center management committees to observe child safety and protection issues at the learning centers. The same goes to the educators who lead the sessions at the learning centers. How do you manage certain cases, or how do you take safety of the children? How do you report child safety issues? So we also train the educators on that. But then again, we have the partners that we work with who work basically in child protection. For example, World Vision. So if we have a child protection issue that is really beyond our control, then we also refer such cases to child protection partners to manage. But then also we ensure that the materials that we put at the learning centers do not cause harm to the children. So LABE now comes in to provide the oversight, the technical oversight, to ensure that whatever we have at the center, the environment is safe enough for learning of the children.
Thank you, Matea.
So-
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we have many questions and we have to answer the rest of them. Thank you so much. There's a question in the chat that says, which local languages are used on the program across the different locations? Who would like to take that up from my panelists? Please go ahead.
Yes.
I can take that up.
I think when we are trying, for example, when we are selecting VHTs, who really roll out these other trainings to household level, we put into nationalities in play in calculating who supports what. For example, Congolese are visited by Congolese, and the Somalis are visited by Somalis for language issues. But even during trainings, I think we had also to work with the TOTS and for possible translations to make sure that the trainings are really like in communication is two-way. I've also had a question around how do we ensure that the model is in sync with the ECD framework. So surely we use the ECD framework in planning lessons, so we don't invent new things like to bring into play when we are doing the site mentorship. And we also have what we call joint monitoring visits that we have done in partnership with the vision officials, like the education supervisors and other key partners. So this enhances to making sure that we are like the ECDs are upholding the government standards, but also not implementing out of
Thank
scope.
you, Hassan. Thank you. That's really nice. That's really diverse as well. We appreciate that. Maybe two more questions. I like this one, and I think Matea, this is going to come back to you. Is how is the attitude effort of parents to take on the home learning centers just in case? How is the performance of the seed grant that is provided? We'd like to know more about the parent side.
Yes,
Matea,
Aliyah,
great.
yeah,
And very
around,
briefly, please, in like 20 seconds. Thank you.
if I heard you right, the audience is asking the attitude of the parents towards the seed grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, one, like I
How is the
mentioned, first of
performance?
all,
Mm-hmm.
First of all, as I mentioned, the seed grants, some of them really are progressing well. Others have gone ahead to multiply the enterprises that they invested in. And you see, the parents are picking interest in themselves, managing, supervising the seed grants and the enterprises that they have really invested in. So for me, right now, I see the parents are positive about it. Although there are, of course, elements. There are some other centers which are really struggling to manage it. But overall, it is a good intervention and it has potential actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, it's obvious. And like I mentioned, I encourage everyone in this call after this call to immediately go to Labe's website and get to know more about their home-based model because it's really an amazing one and it's one that's been very successful and we praise very much in the ECD sector here in Uganda. Last question from Dr. Christine is how is the Kulea Watoto model integrated with the National Early Learning Framework in the schemes of work, lesson plans, CCT support supervision? Who would like to answer that, please, from my panel?
Yes, I have already answered that, and I said we follow the ECD framework, and we also do joint monitoring, and we funded at some point because you will find out every time you go to those division headquarters, they will tell you ECDs and funded priorities. So what we did, it is really bring their capacity, also realizing that this is a silver bullet if we want to change the nation. And therefore, we could do joint monitoring, but also support them to do site mentorship.
That's really amazing.
Ali, can I maybe respond to some of the
please,
the
Linda, go
questions?
ahead. Go ahead. Please.
Yeah,
Linda, we can't hear you.
About success stories on the micro enterprises.
I'm sorry, your voice is not that clear. Can you please?
Our approach was for the client. Me now?
A little bit better.
Are you getting me right now? So I was saying that for enterprises, Penina kept asking questions and about the enterprises. We had the clients actually did select enterprises they felt they could sustain. It was not a push to them. Rather, it was more of an education of the lucrative enterprises, and then they decide on what they can sustain. So they ranged from livestock rearing, crop production, tailoring, hairdressing, carpentry. So there were a vast number of things, bakery in all the locations. So, and most of them, we saw them being sustained because they were not pushed onto the clients. Even when you go right now in the community, even the animals, asset creation, we are seeing a multiplication of animals. And these people are able to sell the kids or the young ones of the animals and be able to actually expand the enterprises. We are seeing the sales improved in one of the end line that was done. When it comes to crop production, it increased. So the gist of the matter here is financial literacy, supporting startup grant, because most times if you train and you don't support them to start up, even loan, they cannot get loans because banks also want people who have started something. So it is very crucial to help them start up. That is one of the things that we saw work compared to other livelihood components or programs. If you skill and you don't give startup, most times they don't pick up fast. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Linda. That makes a lot of sense.
Alia?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to let people know that there is also a Kulea Watoto website. Please just go there, and then you'll be able to see like so many success stories and also many things that talk about the project that we might not have talked about in this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. And is it possible for you to share with us the website on the chat for everyone?
Yeah, okay.
That would be very helpful.
We are typing it there now.
Perfect. That's
maybe
really great.
One last one, Leah, from me. Somebody has just messaged me. I don't know who you are, please, but he's asking or she's asking that how does Labe's model align with the policy, the ECD policy? Maybe to just respond to you real quick. One, the policy really emphasizes community engagement or community involvement. It emphasizes parental involvement in all these activities, but also it emphasizes that we use locally available materials for sustainability. Again, the policy mentions the hard to reach spaces and maybe basically following within the frameworks that we have. And Labe is exactly doing the same through this Kulea Watoto project. Community involvement, use of local materials. We are in the hard-to-reach spaces of Yumbe and other locations. And we are basically going practical with the implementation of the policy. So whoever asked it, I hope that answers.
Thank you, Matea. That's a very sufficient answer, and that's really great work that you're all doing. Can we please give a huge round of applause, hearts, flowers, celebrations for my panel on how amazing they did today? That was really a great conversation. Thank you so much for all of you for taking us through the journey of Kulea Watoto from start to end. It's a very impressive journey, and we are so happy to hear that there's promises for 2.0, perhaps. And we look forward to hearing more on that from the group. And I'm so sorry that we will have to rush this wrap up as we have to go. But thank you all again for joining us. And I would like to hand over for the AfriChild team for a mini announcement. It was amazing moderating this session today. Thank you all for listening to us, and hopefully we will see you soon.